What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you. Welcome back to another podcast, episode 7 of the Pickleball Recovery and Performance Podcast, brought to you live by Paddle Pro Balm. Don't forget, our Paddle Pro Balm is organic, plant-based, handcrafted, and made in the USA. Takes your pain away topically in about 5 to 10 minutes and works transdermally for the next 6 hours-ish to reduce that inflammation so you can get back on the court. I'm excited about today's podcast on episode 7, as today we are live from the APP Sacramento Open. Yes, we have an event booth here spreading the word of Paddle Pro Recovery Balm, helping those pickleball players from amateurs to pros recover well and stay on the court so they can do what they love naturally. Today we are going to have a live random set, but we are going to be talking about things from recovery. Also, the APP Sacramento Open that sponsors Shriners Cancer for Children, which is an awesome thing and a great thing to do in the sport of pickleball. So let's dive in and talk about recovery and performance during your tournament play. So what is tournament? So there's many tournaments. There are tournaments that are USA Pickleball Golden Events, and those are made so you can play as an amateur or a pro to get your golden ticket and try your shot at the largest pickleball tournament in the nation, which is the USA Pickleball Nationals. There is also the APP, which is also tied closely to PPA, but not associated. PPA would be your MLS or MLB type style tournament play or signed athletes, where the APP is just a smidge below, but some say a little more lax, and a lot of athletes and pros love to get sponsored and picked up and contracted by the APP. We are here today representing by Cole, Jake, and Amy. They came all the way down from Iowa to help out and spread the word of the Recovery Paddle Pro Balm. So let's talk about the scene around here. The scene is live. The scene is energetic. We have musics coming out of random Teslas. We have awesome ladies walking around with non-alcoholic beverages, I think. Something like mojitos and margaritas, except it doesn't have the alcohol in it. I think that's a new trend. We also are looking at tighties, a nice breakthrough of science with yoga pants meets your braces for your ankle and elbows, but it's actually built in. We also have the big TV match starting here, which is going to be women's doubles coming up very soon. It's an awesome thing to see. If you're in or around the Sacramento area, stop down at the Johnson Sports Complex located off of Eureka. That's 2600 Eureka Road in Sacramento, California. I got to say, too, by the way, not a big fan of California, but now I'm starting to love this side of California. You know, when you drive through and spend some days in San Diego in the inner city and drive through that crazy 501 with 5 out of 1 chances you'll be stuck in traffic through L.A., and then you go through 5 to 6 hours of the wine vineyards and then ends at Agave, and you're wondering, am I still in California? And then I pulled into Sacramento, and I have got to say this area is absolutely beautiful. We're finding out also we are very close to Lake Tahoe, Folsom Lake, Folsom Prison, these kind of things that actually growing up never knew those were really over in this area. All right, let's dive into the tournament type of play that we're looking at. So today is kind of two things. You have USA Pickleball's golden ticket on a small scale, where people around this area and some that flew in are fighting for their chance in many different brackets to get their golden ticket, so they have their shot at the Nationals in November, which will be hosted by USA Pickleball, and that will be at the Barnes Tennis Center in San Diego, California. We were actually there last year, and it was a blast, 11 days. And then on the other side here, you have the pro tournament matches with some of the sponsored and contracted pros for APP. They are over at the challenge court, but also there are some mixed doubles and women's doubles playing on the back courts as they take their shot at a $150,000 purse at the end of this journey. So it's wild. It's different because we've only been at the USA Pickleball events. This is our first mixed APP USA Pickleball event, and it's a lot different. The energy is much different, and all in good ways. So tournament pickleball is completely different when you're weekend rec game, especially social play. It's like you're playing multiple matches, minimal rest between games. The intensity is super high, and the adrenaline is rushing high as well. And usually you're tightening up as the day goes on. What I'm seeing here in Sacramento Open is exactly that. I mean, some of these pro matches are just wild. I don't know how long you've been playing pickleball or if you're a 2.5 all the way to an 8.0 on your Duper rating. But when you play in social play for a few years and then you watch a professional match, it is night and day. It's different. It makes you rethink your game, at least for me. The way they hold their paddle, closely, tightly come up to that kitchen line. The way the partners move in sync, left to right, protecting that middle line and those counter deep drop, long drive corner shots. It's pretty impressive, and it makes me realize, or more or less it's a remembrance that, you have a long ways to go. There's a lot more to learn in this sport. There's a lot of different techniques. It's not about just driving hard or making those spin serves to try to get points right away. It's actually a very detailed technique that I am seeing out here. All right, so let's talk about some of the things also I'm seeing. These players are coming out strong. Matches 3 and 4, you start seeing slower footwork, tight shoulders, and less control on some of these folks because I think there's some anxiety going on with some of these teams are just amazing. And it's not because they lack, I don't think. It's because they're managing their body between matches. And that's kind of where Paddle Pro Balm comes in and some of the other episodes that I've done where it's super important to be preventative, not only post-recovery, but preventative. If you're doing those 5 to 6 minute stretches in the morning, 5 to 6 minute stretches before you go to bed, it's 12 minutes, guys. Like if you can incorporate that and just make it a habit in your life, that alone is going to help you tremendously. But talking about recovery from an inflammation perspective, you got to get that Paddle Pro Balm. It works. It's chemical-free. It's organic. You apply a little bit topically anywhere head to toe, and it's going to help reduce that pain rapidly and also attack transdermally the inflammation causing it. So it's a 1-2 punch to help you get back on the court and become a better athlete in your journey of the amazing and addicting sport of pickleball. Now that I'm thinking about it, we have a player that has just walked in the tent, and we know her name. She's been here for a few days. She actually did a wonderful video for us on social media. Be sure to check that out, an actual real review of the Paddle Pro Balm. But she just came in. Let's talk to her and see how the energy is going out there. Amy, nice to see you.
Hi, Cole. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
How's the energy out there?
It is good. It's definitely picked up since yesterday. We've got a lot more spectators out there, seeing a lot of pros running around, and it's just awesome. It's a great place.
Awesome. One thing I was talking on this episode was, I played for a few years. You've played, and as we know, you played back in the high school, elementary, somewhere around that era, which I didn't know existed. I had to use old AI to figure out when pickleball was actually created, which you said was 1965, right? A good question I'd like to ask you is from your play on the court and around your area in northern Iowa to actually seeing the pro athletic status, what are some of the key differences that you're noticing?
Oh, man, just the speed, the speed and the agility, and it's just a different, I'm used to more of the fun, let's just be social play, but these are some real athletes out here, and it's just been amazing to watch, and this sport is taking off like crazy, and I love it because anybody can do it. From age, 10 to 90, you see everybody out here, and it's a great community.
Is this a big, rapid growing sport in northern Iowa as well?
Yes, actually, I've seen people put pickleball courts in their own houses, and it's we've got a big league in my town that just keeps building and building and building. So yes, it's definitely growing up.
If you don't mind to stay for just a second, I actually have a question that I've been boggling my mind with for a few days. And that is, I'm trying to identify, I'm no pro. I've got a 2.72 Duper rating, no pro at all by any stretch. But one thing that I noticed after playing for 3 years is I start to be more self-aware of my mistakes, right? Many players are trying to better themselves and better their serve and better their stance and their third shot drops. But I think what I'm starting to be aware of is how can I learn not to mess up, right? The mistakes. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen in pickleball, and maybe correlate that to some of the biggest mistakes, maybe if there's any, that you're seeing here at the Sacramento APP Open?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. It's different because I come from a tennis and racquetball background, so it's I've learned, for me, my mistakes come from my backhand because I'm just trying to learn how to teach my old tennis backhand to the pickleball backhand. But you don't see too many mistakes here other than like they think it's out and it's not out, things like that. That's all I've seen from the tournaments here. These guys are elite. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, on day one, I was walking around when it was not a lot of people here, definitely no spectators, and I was kind of putting that mindset on, as I was telling you, being self-aware, and walking around and looking at some of these pros that are sponsored by APP, trying to identify kind of what they're doing in their pregame, right? That warm-up stage, if you will, and you know, I expected to see, thinking they were so good that they just kind of come and do like 2 seconds of stretches. But I was impressed to see that they were stretching pretty good. They had coaches with them stretching. They were hitting fastballs on the train courts and all that. So it does seem like their warm-up game is on point, and I think that's something we develop as we become or want to become better pro athletes in whatever sport, but specifically today, pickleball. Would you agree?
I agree, and I think that, you know, one thing I've seen with your Paddle Pro is that it's preventative maintenance too, and that you've got to take care of your machine. And if you want to keep playing pickleball as you get older and older, you've got to take care of those joints. You got to take care of those feet and those elbows. And that is one big thing that I have utilized in my game is I balm my feet before every game, I balm my elbow before every game, and I play 1,000 times better. If I forget that, that is a key element of my game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, we've talked a lot today about the pre-game warm-ups and post-recovery on a lot of our episodes on the Pickleball podcast. But one thing I want to ask you as a player and being here as a spectator walking around is something that people may not be looking at is some of these matches I notice in the pro status, they go long. I mean, we're going to 15 points, right? And you've played matches that is just 15 in about 3 minutes and the game's over and you're on to your next opponents. But here, they're just so equally good that these matches go for a long time, and the stress they're putting on their body, the sweat that's dripping off their body. You know, I'm wondering, have you identified maybe in between breaks, are they doing any kind of special thing you're noticing, whether it be an energy powder, a protein powder, a towel on their face? I mean, so that breaks that they take, are they doing anything from your perspective to kind of re-engage for that next section of play?
Well, I definitely see them getting out of the sun, getting the towel on their face, big, deep breaths, and then it looks like a lot of electrolytes and that kind of thing. They're definitely staying hydrated because it is a hot one out here today, and that's, you know, one of the doubles match I watched yesterday. These 4 women were absolute animals, and they were matched up well, and that thing went on for half hour, maybe 45 minutes, and you think that's a lot of working out. So you definitely have to do nutrition, do, you know, your water, do everything right with the sport. It's a real sport.
Yeah, that's well said. That's well said and agreed. You know, something I'll talk about, too, that I just love about pickleball is that, like Amy was saying, guys, this sport is 18 to 90 and sometimes plus. I mean, anyone can play it. Anyone can relive that life and become an athlete in pickleball. But it's also mentally balancing, I've noticed. Is there anything that you've experienced, not just the physical workout and effort put forth to play matches and even practice, but maybe more on a mental balance aspect?
Well, I know for me, you know, I was an athlete all through my, you know, my younger years, high school and into my early 20s, and I used to do like triathlons and stuff, and then had some physical issues that I couldn't compete anymore, and I lost that for a few years. But mentally, getting back in the pickleball court and being competitive has just ignited something. It's given me a purpose. It's given me something to do, and so I think that's a big part of why these people do it too. You know, you see, I ran into a couple of old Ironmen, you know, that had ran Ironmans, and they couldn't do that anymore, but now they play pickleball, and it's given us all a new purpose and a new lease on life, and the energy is just amazing.
That's well said, well said. Better than alcohol and drugs, huh?
100%.
Well, Amy, thank you for stopping by. What a timing thing, too, while we're doing our episode 7 for the podcast. We do appreciate you coming by. Is there anything you want to say to anybody that may be listening to this that maybe will help better their life in any way, whether it's their game of pickleball or just a tip for their life?
You know, get outside, play, you know, find your local pickleball court. Even if you think that you can't do it, just go watch, and you're going to find some new friends, you know, and hands down, the number one product you got to do if you play pickleball is Paddle Pro. I swear by it, and you will never regret it. And it's not just for pickleball. I mean, you can use it in your daily life, too. So,
Thank you, Amy. We appreciate you for stopping by. Well, that was awesome, guys. Amy stopping by. I actually saw her play a little bit this morning. She was playing against a guy who looked like Thor, and I had to stop for a second and basically watch because, I haven't seen much of Amy play except for this event, and I saw this change on the court, and this Thor guy just looked like he was going to cry. I mean, just bust down in tears. I felt like getting some Kleenex for him, and Amy, just this monster in her, just took over, and I'm pretty sure... Yeah, I wasn't sure of the results, but that's kind of my observation of Amy. She's a warrior on the court, so those tips that she had told you guys, I would take those very seriously. Well, to end this podcast, something had came to my mind that I think a lot of people forget about, and this can tie into your life just in general, but also I'm going to tie it into pickleball, and that is breathing, guys. Breathing is free, deep breaths. A lot of times I notice watching matches where maybe the one team is obviously better than the other team, and they're up 8-0, let's call it. Maybe it's going to be a pickle, and then one guy makes a bad serve into the net, and then you see him get down on himself, right? The moment I see that, 9 times out of 10, I know they're going to lose because he is in his head. He's lost that confidence, but more importantly, he has lost that focus. And one tip I'll give you guys that is free and easy and quick to regain that focus, whether you're on the court, whether you have anxiety, whether something tragic or bad has happened in your life, is breathing. And, it's very simple. You could do the common one where it's slow breathing in 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, breathe slow out for 6 seconds. If you do that for 5 minutes, I promise you it's going to reset your focus. Things are going to crisp up. Colors are going to brighten a little more. But most importantly, you're going to eradicate that anxiety and that downward feeling that you have because of your one mess up on the court when you were, quite frankly, up 8-0. So to recap this podcast, guys, just want to tell you again that if you're in the Sacramento area and you want to come and experience what it's like to watch real pro athletes signed by the APP on the challenge court, an awesome experience, energy. They're giving away free koozies. And don't forget to stop by the Paddle Pro Recovery Balm 10 as well, because we are giving out free foot massages deep in that foot to help you feel better, feel lighter, and I promise you it'll change your day. So don't forget about that slow breathing to reset your focus. Don't carry that frustration into your next shot or even your next game. Recovery isn't just physical, guys. It's mental too, and I would say more mental than physical in a lot of times in your life. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here is these athletes are performing. They're warming up just great. They're practicing those intermediate practices where they're doing their breathing. They have the right electrolytes, and they are just doing the things that it takes to be and play in a pro athletic event such as the APP Sacramento Open. And don't forget, guys, Paddle Pro Organic Recovery Balm is here. It's chemical-free. It's TSA approved. It's easy for travel. It will take your pain away topically in about 5 to 10 minutes and start to transdermally work to reduce that inflammation causing. We don't just make Band-Aids, guys. We make the source that helps you get back on the court because just like you and just like Amy, we are all addicted to pickleball. So don't forget to go to paddleprobalm.com. Your first order by putting in your email, and we will not blast you with spam, you'll get 5% off plus fast and free shipping. And I promise you, it'll last 2 to 3 months. You will absolutely love it. It's not just for pickleball, but it's for any day, everyday sores from your feet to your head to your toes. And one of the unintended benefits I will tell you guys that we are hearing from a lot of pickleball players is these folks are putting it on the bottom of their feet before play and claiming it's making them lighter. But more importantly, they're not having that soreness after their play, no matter the intensity of it. So just take that as a tip, guys, and don't forget to go to Paddle Pro Balm. Thank you for joining Episode 7 of the Pickleball Recovery and Performance Podcast, brought to you live by Paddle Pro Balm. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed Friday, guys, and always remember to love the one you're with and do good. See ya.